what's up? Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today I'll be talking about Fight or Flight. I got to see this movie at a Cinemark special screening this Monday. It'll be out in theaters later this week. Fight or Flight comes from director James Madigan. Looks like this is his freshman movie. I see that he has been an assistant director on movies such as Transformers: Rise of the Beast, as well as Snake Eyes. So definitely has a heavy action background, which we get quite a bit of action in this movie. So Fight or Flight stars Josh Hartnett as our primary actor, playing this character named Lucas. He's this special agent that is essentially in hiding, trying to figure out how he can basically get his freedom back. We don't know too much about his story early on. We do get pieces of it as we go throughout the movie about kind of what led him to this position, but he seems to have ties with various government agencies as this either special ops, assassin, just those kind of roles. So he ends up landing on a mission to try to discover some person that they only know as Ghost. This person is very clever. They know how to hide themselves from cameras. They know how to move around, very secretive, and stick away from anyone trying to catch this person. So his mission is to basically discover who Ghost is and bring them back to San Diego alive. And so this movie primarily takes place on a plane. And Fight or Flight, if you've seen the trailer, you kind of get the sense that this is a bullet train style movie. The best way I can really describe this is this would be like Bullet Train, but like a straight to streaming. And that kind of sets up like my overall tone with this movie, because getting into this movie is one I was definitely excited to see, especially seeing Josh Hartnett back on the big screen. And, I'm a fan of Bullet Train, so having that concept but in like a plane seemed intriguing and interesting. The problem I had with this movie is like at the get-go, you're kind of thrown into this where it has a very cheap look and feel to it. And that's where I think some of the issues go into this. A lot of things, especially with the ideas around this movie, a lot of the subplots, while they're good, it just seems like they're taped together last minute. We don't have very many well-known actors in this movie outside of our lead, Josh Hartnett. And then once we get to meet all these other actors, things become a bit predictable. Because we're basically splitting our time between Josh on this plane, or Lucas on this plane, I'll just call him by his character name, but then the people that he's in contact with, which is this agency that are delivering him clues, and he's communicating of like what's going on the plane. Later we find out that there was a hit sent out, not only for Ghost, but for him as well. And now we realize like this plane is filled with nothing but assassins and other hired mercenary killers. And that's where things really ramp up. Once we get into the action moments, this is definitely an entertaining watch. It's just all the little pieces around it just didn't quite work all in all for me. Like I said before, things are pretty predictable. Once you get to meeting characters, you can kind of call what they're up to pretty quickly. And the story, like there's like a sub-story of Ghost and what the mission of Ghost is. And it definitely leans into like, anti-tech, like foreign workers. And I think a lot of that sub-story is good and meaningful. I just don't think it was really pieced together in the best way, and in terms of like an execution standpoint, it just like once you get into things, your emotions are kind of thrown all over the place because you're trying to enjoy it, but you've got characters that you don't entirely care about and you kind of know what they're up to, and it's just like a very hit and miss in terms of rhythm. Like there's some things that land that'll make you chuckle. The action is definitely the best part. I mean, I think we're on a whole nother standard with like practical effects for the blood and like some of these kill shots that we get in this movie. And I don't want to spoil like any of the major scenes. I will say like there's a moment where Lucas gets a certain power tool and goes to town on the plane, and that is definitely one of the highlight moments. But there's a number of plot holes. There's things that happen that don't quite make sense, and they're never like really revisited. And that's what kind of makes this movie a little bit of that. This feels like it would be better if it was just like streaming. I could watch it at home. But if you're a fan of these kind of movies, I think there's enough here where people are going to be entertained. I think there probably is an audience for this. But if you're looking for a deeper story or something that has a little bit more production to it, like this is one where I feel like it kind of has that streaming vibe. This is like, if you consider like back in the day, like this is what you would find in like the $5 bin at Walmart. Like it's kind of one of those vibe movies. But there's definitely some unique things that I think carry over from like Josh Hartnett's like past filmography. I mean, there are some acid trip style scenes in this, so it's definitely, again, it's a vibe movie. Like if you just want to kind of turn your brain off, have some popcorn, chill out, watch this with some friends, I definitely think there's enough there to have a good time. But outside of that, it is very, very predictable and a bit lackluster as a whole movie. But Fight or Flight, I'm curious what other people are going to think of this movie. Like I said, it drops later this week. I got to see it early at the secret screening. While it was one I was excited to see, I think there are moments where you can get some laughs or you can get some definitely reactions to when these assassins start trying to kill one another. But outside of that, the characters, you don't truly care about them in the end. Most of them you can pick off as very predictable and figure out where the story is going. And there's numerous plot holes that you kind of have to like be okay with as you're getting from point A to point B in this movie. But all that said, Fight or Flight, let me know what you think if you see this movie. What do you think compared to like Bullet Train? Are you a fan of these movies? Would love to know. I feel like we could definitely get something else in this realm down the road. A lot of ideas that could come from this, but thanks so much for stopping by. Be sure to like and subscribe if you're new here. That way you can be on tabs when I have more reviews coming out soon. I'll be back later this week with more reviews. We'll see you soon.